Hello there, everyone, and welcome to Slapendipity Hobos of Happy Slappy Town. I am Eric, who you may call E-Riz, and I am with Devin, who you can call Gibby, you can also call Gibbity.
I'm gonna have to place a ban on referring to us as Gibbity Toilet and E Rizzler. I think that from now on we should go with our brand new, like those are yesterday's news. We need to go on with our brand new names.
What's our brand new names?
Brand new names. You know how in the beginning, episode 1, you were E Money?
Yeah.
I think you should be E Honey because I think that today you're gonna be telling some stories about the dating scene.
Okay. I didn't think that's what I was doing.
Wait, is eHarmony a dating thing or an insurance thing? Because that would have been a much better joke.
eHarmony is for dating.
Okay, see, that also works. Oh my god, that would have been so much better.
If only you had thought of it first.
If only I had
No
more
workaround to it.
confidence in my very short-term memory.
What? So what do we call you then? Like D Tinder?
Oh, there must be a good one. I was gonna say D-Harmony, but that's the entire other joke.
It is. Yeah. Don't steal the joke.
Plenty of Gib. I don't know. Okay.
I mean, I don't like. It's there.
We'll think of something. In the middle of one of these stories, one of us is just gonna jump in and be like, "Oh my god, Gibbyumble." Anyway.
Gibumble.
I had a dream last night, and in
Okay.
the dream, and so I think that there's a couple like factors that led to this. So one of the people I work with recently downloaded Bumble, and so it's been a topic of conversation. But last night I had a dream that you were showing me your Bumble profile. But I think the reason it
Okay.
was you is because we had that conversation about your wasp dream, your bee dream.
Sure. From a few episodes ago.
Yeah, so like the UI of Bumble wasn't like a dating app. It was like there were like little bees crawling all over the screen, and like the background of
Oh.
everyone's picture was like a wall of honey, like inside a honeycomb. So it'd be like, oh my god, look, hey, you know how like if you're on TikTok, there's a filter that like poorly green screens you out of the background, and then you can put something behind you.
Right.
It was like that, but like people were inside beehives, and you're like, wow, look at this girl, and I'd be like, wow, she's a bee. Anyway, that was
Okay.
a dream I had. I do in fact dream about puns. So that made me want to be
Uh-huh.
like, okay, be like,
Wanna be?
I'm like, I know that Eric has been on dating apps, and I'm not asking for personal stories or to be like, oh my god, one time there was this girl who whatever. I'm asking for what your experience being a user of the apps is. Which ones do you recommend? Which ones do you not like? What do you think gentlemen who are lonely should do with the app scene?
Okay. Piece of cake. First of all, they all suck. Dating companies and dating apps are not helping you look for love. They're helping themselves make money. Tinder has, or the parent company of Tinder, I'm not entirely sure, has bought most of the dating apps at this point. So they're all more and more structured like Tinder than what they used to be, which is tragic because Tinder was one of the most egregious offenders of we're here to make money, not help you find a date.
But Eric, I thought that Hinge was the app that was made to be deleted.
After you spend $20 because, well, don't you want this thing? Or, well, you could talk to them if you buy a rose. They all have their BS. And it's so wild seeing, like, because I remember back in the day when everything wasn't bought by Tinder, like, OkCupid was like, yeah, this is the one you want if you're like looking for more or less long-term thing. I mean, obviously it still had short-term things, but like like the most of the audience was like, no, I'm gonna answer all these dumb questions. We're gonna figure this out, and we're gonna get somewhere. Dang it. Back in the day, like I knew a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, I met someone." It was like OkCupid, and like of course, like for a long term amount of time, right? And oh no, they got bought out by who? Now it sucks.
So, do you think that they've basically all like congealed into the same experience just with different names and thus have lost focus on what was once truly important?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they still have their gimmicks, right? But like it's not it's still basically Tinder in whatever form. Like the Bumble is just Tinder, but yellow and from the woman has to make the first move, right? The gimmick, right? Hinge's gimmick of like, no, well, you should totally delete us. And then that was its only gimmick actually, as far as I uh can recall. It doesn't do much. I mean, it has the standouts, I guess. You're given a rose, one free rose once a week, and after swiping through the normal people on Hinge, it will learn your type and everything like that, thanks to AI learning and blah blah blah. So then they'll have a section called the standouts where it went, hey man or woman or whomever, we learned who you like. And you're not going to see them in the normal swipe left, swipe right things. We're going to hide them over in the standout section where you have to spend a rose, because it's like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or whatever. And to like this person, you spend this rose, and then they'll get like a notification of like, so and so has liked you. But you
That's
get one.
that's
And
wild to
if
me. Okay, so like let's equate this to TikTok. Let's say you or YouTube Shorts or something. Let's say you download TikTok and you watch through a bunch of videos. Some of them you watch the whole way through. You leave a like. Some of them you only watch for 3 seconds and you swipe. And the algorithm learns what you like and then
yeah,
says, "Okay, now you need to pay a monthly fee to watch the videos that we know you'll find interesting. Otherwise, you'll only watch the stuff that we know you don't like."
well, it's not that you don't like, it's we know you'd be less interested. But more or less, yes. Of like we know more than likely you're gonna, if we pick out 10 people or 10 videos for this example, like you'll probably find 7 of them like and to be like, wow, they're a cool like I want to talk to them or I want to watch that video. And then it goes, give me a rose.
That's kind of crazy. That's actually horrible.
Yeah, but hey, if you want to buy a rose for like 2.99 or whatever it is,
What?
and if you, hey, I get it, that's pretty expensive. So if you want to buy 12 roses for 49.99 and save some money because it's a bundle deal, go ahead and do that.
That's like
I've never
legitimately
bought a
insane.
rose.
Okay, so I know that like
Yeah,
algorithm wise, there's always this stuff where it's like, okay, if nobody ever found their true love on the site, then nobody would use it because they would think it wasn't good. But if people always found their true love on the site, then there would be no one there willing to spend all the roses, right? So let's say that like 11% of the people on the site have to find their potential mate. Otherwise, you need that exact ratio. That means that the app is the company, the algorithm, the app is actually being like reinforced. I forget the word I'm trying to think of, but like there is. Oh my god, what's the word? Oh, I'm try. I can only think of influenza. That's not the word. Enticed. They're being. Uh,
incentivized.
yes. Oh my god, Eric. Thank you. Oh my god. Okay, so the app is being incentivized to make it so that 89% of people do not find the person they're looking for. Because if that perfect ratio is 11%, which I just made up, then statistically they don't want you to find the person because they want you to just keep spending money, right? Like it's so
Yeah.
malicious, and I think it's evil.
Yeah, no, we have commodified looking for love, and you're gonna pay us for it. Which, to an extent, like that is kind of what matchmakers do. I think they're a bit more earnest in it in their endeavor. If you were to like pay a human matchmaker who had their own store or whatever, you know. But yeah, no, it's all about the money. Um, I can reveal a little of my own curtain. So that's Hinge, right? Then you have Tinder. Tinder is also messed up because, hey man, do you want did you make a fresh account? Wow, you have 10 likes within 2 days. And wow, isn't that super cool? And you're like, yeah, that is super cool. And then it's kind of luck if you match with them or match with them or not, right? Because you can only, that it's still random, not random, but like they don't tell unless someone super likes you don't get to see who the person that liked you was. So you have to still swipe left, swipe right, and if you just happen to swipe left on the person that liked you, sucks. There is a chance that like when you open the app again, like you close it, open it later, they'll like reload that person just to be like, "Are you sure?" without explicitly saying anything. Um, but then once like I don't know a week, if that, you stop getting likes more if you're a guy at least, in my experience, because you are no longer a fresh account. So we don't have to falsely bump you up in the algorithm to get you hooked on like, oh wow, people like me. Oh my gosh, that's uh I guess I should really try Tinder. This is amazing. And then after a week, when you're like into it, and it stops pushing you up in the algorithm, and you stop getting nearly as many likes, then you're just swiping left and right. And then, hey, do you want to pay for Tinder Gold? It'll allow you to see who likes you, and if you swipe left on the person but you change your mind, you can rewind and swipe right on them, and whatever other features. Or if you really want to, you can pay for Tinder Platinum, which will do all the things of Tinder Gold in addition to like set preferences. Like, do you want kids or
That's not just on
body
base.
types?
That's not on base like
No,
stuff. What
no.
what was the app I
The only
downloaded?
preferences,
What app asks you like a
hmm,
bajillion questions?
probably okay,
That
Cupid.
that is probably okay, Cupid. That's the one I downloaded. I answered like thirty
Maybe
thousand
Hinge.
questions or something.
Oh yeah, okay, Cupid for
Okay,
sure.
but you have to pay for that for
Um,
Tinder.
yeah. So you get
Wow.
like age range and distance, and I believe that's it from like not spending any money in terms of like preferences. I think gold gets you like one or two preferences, and then platinum gets you all of them. So body type, whatever hobbies that they have included in their bio, stuff like that. And some of it's just also kind of, I think, extra whack, where like, there are bots. And one of the things I have done in the past, I have shame, but I will let the world know so they may learn from me. I have bought Tinder Gold and Tinder Platinum because they will go, hey man, do you want to it's half off this week. So, you'd be saving a lot of money, and you do have 15 likes because we boosted you, and you'll get more we'll boost you back into the algorithm if you pay for us. And then in moments of weakness, I go, I okay, Tinder. You son of a gun, I'm in. And then I cry about it later because I've just wasted my money. However, one of the things that allowed me to do was to be like, okay, the person needs to have a minimum of 3 pictures, because less than that, I would just think you're a bot, and I don't want to see bots. If they have a bio, right, versus nothing in their bio, similar sentiment. Because the amount of bots and scams on dating apps are also rampant. This is how I thought what you were doing. I matched with someone on Tinder this past week,
I didn't know
and I
that.
was like,
How was I?
I
How
know,
was I? How was I
I
supposed
know,
to? Oh my god, Eric, my dream.
I know.
That's
That's why
crazy.
this is kind of weird. Because again, I didn't tell you this, and you were just like, "Oh, we're gonna talk about dating." It was like, how did you learn? So I matched with some woman, and she had 4 pictures. They all looked pretty consistent. One was at even like different, like there was an animatronic dinosaur, and I was like, okay, doesn't feel like pictures you can just Google. And she was like, hey, like, what's up? And I was like, she sent a message first, automatically, thinking it's a bot. Because in my experience, women do not send the first message. I'm sure they do. I'm sure some women do. That's lovely for them. I would love to meet one. I have not had many experiences, though. I happened to be bouldering, so I just ignored this message and then went about my night. So then the next day, I responded back going, hey, like, I was out bouldering all night. It was crazy. How are you? What did you do last night? And I'm not going to get into the whole shebang of it, but she, responded. She responded at like 6 p.m., right? Because initially I was like, oh, this is bot. And then she responded at 6 p.m. and I was like, well, okay, so she's responding after work. So she had like a busy day, I guess. But then, is she or isn't she a bot? I can't tell. And then, the message continues, but that's just in my mind now. And she just starts being very aggressive. And it's like, hey, like, what's your Instagram? What's your what's your XYZ? Like, we should
What are those funny
totally.
numbers on the back of your credit card?
Yeah, what is the funny numbers on the back of my credit card? And I was like, okay, it's probably about like she could just be really, really like down bad, if you will. But not with me, probably. And so it just kept going. And I was like, like, I'm not about that. I'd like to spend more time on the apps than like giving away my information from like, an hour of talking at most. And she was like, okay, no worries. Like, here's my number though, if you ever want to talk. And I was like, unmatch bot. I don't even care if it wasn't a bot. It was totally a bot. My mind can't be changed. I can hear 1,000 comments in this comment section going, I can't believe it. He totally had. No, it was a bot. There's no way.
There's some lady out there who's a robotic dinosaur aficionado who's like, you know what? I really like that one Eric guy. I wonder why he ghosted me. And then they click on our podcast and they're like, oh my god, he thought I was so cool that I'm a bot.
Maybe, wouldn't that be the love story of the decade?
That would be crazy. And then they reach out to you in our comment section.
The love story of the decade. And I'd say, why are you acting so fishy? So yeah, so that was my experience more or less with that, and it's just it never one, paying for them is never worth it. You always end up regretting it because you've made yourself a fool, and they got you in a desperation attempt that just happened. They figured out when you would be like existential in a certain week, and they'd be like, excellent, here's a sale. So that's tragic. And then it it still is never that worth it, because if they had to give so much if they bump you in the algorithm because hey, you bought their thing. If they did that for a significant amount for every single person that bought the thing, it would be the same, however many people. Can't do that. So Tinder's garbage.
Yes.
Hinge is kind of garbage. The amount of and here and the thing that kind of gets me, right? I matched with this woman who I am convinced was a bot. She had 4 pictures, a bio, and like listed off, hobbies. And I was like, oh, bots are just so much. Like, I remember when bots were like 2 pictures, no bio, and like that was it. And you were just like, well, obviously this is a bot. And now they're so advanced.
I guess it makes perfect
woof.
sense that a bot would be interested in robot dinosaurs.
Hey, man, that they were trying to get that Robo Dino all along.
I think.
So that's that. Oh, so yes.
No, I was just gonna say that I think that one of the only real let's start over. I downloaded a bunch of dating apps in like 2016, and
Yeah.
you guys like helped me set up the account. Funnily enough, we also because like I was doing this and I was setting up my accounts. We also set them up for one of our other friends, who set up an account, went on 2 dates, and ended up marrying the guy that he met on the second date. So I thought that that's just such a funny and cool story. But so we were setting these accounts up for me, and you guys would like watch, and I would swipe and I would swipe and I would swipe, and I believe that you guys would always get angry. You'd be like, "Why'd you swipe left on her?" And I'd be like,
Playful
"Because,
angry.
because." And so it turned into every time I swiped right on somebody, I would like send a screenshot of them into the chat and be like, "This is a person I like." And I believe in my entire time using all the dating apps, I swiped right 6 times.
I mean, I no offense, I think that says most things about you.
Yes. This was 8 years before discovering I was asexual. Haha, funny.
Haha.
Definitely not, an early sign. Um,
Definitely not. Definitely not.
everyone was just like, "Oh my god, that's so quirky." I'd be like, "Haha, yes, I'm dying." Anyway, so one of my experiences using dating apps is I downloaded. I think we determined it was OkCupid. That's the one with all the questions.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so I had a
It
friend.
was.
This was in college. I had a friend who was like, "Oh yeah, Tinder and all those things are stupid." This would have been like 2018, right? This is like 2 years after my failure with those apps. They were like, "That's stupid. Use OkCupid because they like ask questions and then they match you with someone." I'm like, "Okay, that's awesome. Go back to my dorm room, answer a bunch of questions." I probably sat there and answered like 150 questions, right? Like literally all of them. And it lets you answer a question, but also say like how important is the answer to this question to you, right? So if it's like,
Yes.
do you think a hot dog's a sandwich? I'll put no, and I'll put this is a 5 out of 5 important to me question. And then it'll move on and it'll be like, what's your opinion on baseball? I'd be like, I like baseball, but I don't really care if my partner does, right? Like, and you answer all the questions that way. And so afterwards, I finish and I click the button to be like, okay, now search for people in your area. Now I set the search for like a 3 mile radius, right? Like I'm on a college campus. I'm not looking for anyone who's not on my campus.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I've told you this story before, but you can still act surprised. The person who came up with like a 92% match rate and was really the only person above like an 85 was the girl who told me to download the app.
That's crazy.
I'm like, huh, that's unfortunate. Now this is of course an example of our favorite thing on Slapendipity Hopeless of Happy Slappy the Bad, and that would be of course serendipity, where I'm like,
Yes.
not only did I fill this out, not only do I know the person the robot wants me to be with, but it's the person who told me to get the app. That's crazy. That's serendipitous. That must mean something. I reached out to her, and she said no.
That's rough, buddy.
That is rough, buddy. Yeah, that's basically the story. I was like, hey, the robots think we should date teehee JK unless, and she said no. I'm like, okay, and then like that was it.
Pushing your index fingers
Put
together.
your index, the two index fingers facing each other emojis, yeah. So
Yeah.
after that, the only thing I did is I went and I switched my search spaceness to the entire country, right? Like, okay, who does this robot think I should be within the entire country? And it pulled up like 3 people that were 99%, and none of them lived anywhere near us.
Well,
and there's, oh, this person's in Kansas, this person's in California. I'm like, wow, these are the 3 people that the robot thinks I should be with more than anyone else, and I will never meet them. Delete.
I mean, you could have reached out to them.
No.
And been like, oh my gosh, let's like be pen pals or try long distance.
I had just had a bad experience with messaging someone saying the robots want us to date. I was not about to do it with a stranger.
Well, whoa, you don't say it like that, though. You don't go up to a 99% and be like, the robots want us to date. You say, wow, you have a lovely profile. I'd love to get more about not like what you think on hot dogs or whatever. As someone who does not eat a hot dog, what's your experience with them? You know, I don't know.
Well, so like in my profile, if I put like a hot dog is not a sandwich, super important to me, and also is a vegetarian, super important to me, I would hope that the person I was matching with agrees with me on both of those things.
I mean, you never know. Do you mind if I just kind of take over for a second?
Absolutely.
Okay, Tinder, trash. Hinge, regrettably okay, purely because it feels like old OkCupid to me, even though it's not. Old OkCupid, great. Current OkCupid, trash. Boo, not worth it.
What's Boo?
Plenty of Fish. Boo is where you its gimmick is you use like the Myers-Briggs personality test, and you're like, if you're an INFJ, then that must mean like you would want an EXP elemental Q.
Well, as an INFJ,
Obviously.
thank you for telling me what kind of person I want to find without having to pay for the service. I will go and find my INXQ.
Plenty of Fish, never really used. It always just was lame. I think I downloaded it once or so. Keep in mind, I have been on dating apps for like a long time. No one needs to know the exact number. What Field, I believe, is the name of one of the more recent ones I have tried. It worked for a lot of other people. Well, a lot is a bit extreme. To me, Field was just people already in relationships looking for a third person, be that short term or long term, which I was not about. But the idea of it was that, like, it would be it's for people curious about whatever things.
What?
It's like meet couples and singles and like explore yourself and blah blah blah, and then it just turned into couples looking for third people instead of like, hey, am I bi-curious, asexual? What? And then for me at least it was, hey, we're a couple and we're looking for a third person. I did know the person that told me to download that app like had crazy success with like meeting single people and going on dates. Rip me, I guess.
Rip us.
I've tried Pure, 100% gimmick, not worth it.
What's that?
That one is it's very kink.
See, that's
explicit.
the opposite of where I thought that was going.
Yeah, because it's called Pure, but it's actually
no good.
No, yeah, it's like what are all your kinks, and let's find someone based off that. and it'll all be anonymous and stuff. And then it doesn't work out great because it's still has the same problems of all the other dating apps of people don't actually want to talk on them. Bumble kind of sucks. I am sure many people have had success with it. The gimmick of Bumble, if you're not aware, is that the lady has to message first. Otherwise, the match, like the chat window for you two talking, will disappear within 24 hours. I have matched with so many people on Bumble and never received a message from them, and the chat window just expires. And I go, cool, this was a waste of time, thank you. I tried HUD, I believe, which is just kind of not knockoff Tinder. Same thing. And let's see. Badoo, a lot of these are just knockoff Tinders, and it shows. Same with Hilly.
You could be naming like alternative cryptocurrencies at this point. I've never heard of 99% of these.
And you're welcome. I'm doing good service. Coffee Meets Bagel was okay. It was kind of had a vibe of like old OK Cupid, where it was like, no, we actually care and we do want to set you up with someone. And then it just kind of doesn't pan out, especially hey, turns out when you live under a bridge, you don't have a wide selection of people in your area. So then you expand it, and then you run into a problem that you had of like, well, do I want to go to California? Not really.
Speaking of going to California.
Nope.
So that's actually really funny. Okay, so one of my friends, one of the people that we used to work with, moved out to California this week. It was this really interesting turn of events where I don't want to like give too much of his like life story away, but he had a job opportunity out there, and we here in Happy Slappy Town are on the East Coast, and he basically said like, I can't go out there, I'm not gonna fly out to California just for a job interview. And I called him a pansy and I said, bro, this is your dream, go do it. And he said, you know what, I will do it. And he got a couple of things like worked out, like he's got a place to stay, he has a job out there lined up even if this interview falls through. And so after this whole process took about a month. And so a couple days ago, he finally officially moved out to California. And as he was looking for places out there to stay and like what to do, he found out that one of his old coworkers at a job he worked at like half a decade ago currently lives in the town that he's looking to move into. So he's like, wait, I know someone from there. And so he reached out to this guy, and like this person that he worked with years and years ago, whose number he still had, ended up being like the guy who picked him up from the airport when he landed. And I'm just
cool.
like, that's just such a cool serendipitous moment. And that's the kind of story that we should be telling on the hobos of Serendipity Town.
Slapendipity. Yeah, that's pretty magical. Good for him, and his friend, I suppose.
Yes, I wish him the best of luck.
The best of wells.
I guess one more thing.
Have a good enough well, flick a penny and you'll get good wishes.
Eric, let's not talk about wishes again, okay? We've been through this. The wishing well that's next to the stream underneath the bridge is how we keep getting ourselves in trouble. We can't just keep throwing all the money we get down there, otherwise we're going to be stuck under this bridge forever.
But my wish might come true.
Yeah, we know you might get superpowers, people might learn to love each other a little more, I get it, but we need to save up that money so we can buy ourselves a nice abode. Abode, a place to live. I think before we finish up this discussion of dating apps, I guess I wanted to ask, because I have people who recommend me to go on a certain site, is if you have any of all the dozen apps you just named, if you have any experience on Christian Mingle.
Nope.
Okay, well then you don't have any advice for me. All right, guys, we're going to go to break and we're going to be right back after the jingle.
Let me tell you why. Religion, not super important to me.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you, Break Time Music Lagranges. We are here with our second piece of mail. It actually was not delivered as gently as before and was just kind of thrown off the bridge and hit me in the head. I am nursing my wound. You want to open it up, Devin?
Sure, I'm unwrapping it. It looks like it's from a YouTube commenter. Remember, whenever you leave a comment on YouTube or to our email address, the post office will write it down and make sure that we get it. So this appears to be from YouTube commenter Aver2326. They were commenting on episode 2, where we were talking about your disgusting milkshake habits. And they say, I like milkshake nuggets too, Eric.
Yeah. Nice. Amazing. High five. High five. Ready? Amazing.
Did you just high five
yourself? As someone with taste.
Because certainly that sound was certainly not me high fiving you. I did not.
No, I high fived with Aver.
Okay, all the way from, I guess, wherever they are. Okay, over the internet.
It was a spiritual high five.
Spiritual high five. That's fair.
Yeah, no. Milkshake nuggets are amazing, and I'm glad to see I have ventured forth into this internet wild space to come out and pave this path for people like myself and really just bring home that people should try dunking their nuggets in milkshakes.
Even just the name milkshake nuggets, like it's just like nauseating.
Sounds like you're weak. The thing that gets me the most about this is we have a friend who will mix every flavor of soda, mix every condiment sauce into one sauce, and he's like, ew, a milkshake nugget? That sounds gross. And it's like, what do you... Hello? Have you met you?
Mixing soda flavors is, like, fine, especially if they have a freestyle machine, like one of the Coke machines where you can just mix all the things together. Like, that's kind of fun.
No, but then it doesn't taste like anything. It's just sugar.
Well, it's sugar and, like, way too many flavors. Like, doesn't Dr. Pepper, like, famously have, like, 26 flavors or something?
I have no idea.
I think that's, like, on the side of every can, it's like, oh, we have 23. Yeah, every can of Dr. Pepper says 23, because that's how many ingredients they have.
Oh, ingredients is different from flavors.
Okay, I guess.
What do you mean you guess? There's 23 different ways to taste the Dr. Pepper, or it's made up of 23 different things. Big difference.
So what's your argument against mixing all the soda flavors together?
Yeah, it just tastes like sugar. Like you don't taste anything.
No, you taste so much.
I mean, you do. No, but there's no. It's just sugar. You can't appreciate the cherry or the orange or the vanilla or whatever the original flavor is. Like it all just mixes in. It's like when you're a kid and you're like, I'm gonna mix all of the colors on and get an awesome and it's black or like the dirtiest brown you've ever seen. And it's just like an ugly mud brown and it like hisses at you because you've birthed it into existence. Because you had yellow, blue, white, green, purple, red, indigo, violet, azure, black, gray, brown. Did I say yellow?
You said azure though, which is a color that I despise. Continue.
And then you had all this beautiful color wheel, and then you went and now you have black.
Because you mix all the colors together.
Because that's what happens. Because you mix all the colors together. And that's what happens with soda in my opinion.
Okay.
When you mix all your sodas together, you just get a nothing. Congratulations.
Okay, but like if you're drinking fruit punch, it's gonna have a lot of different like fruity flavors mixed into it. You're gonna get the cherry and the strawberry and the raspberry and the apple. So like I don't understand why mixing together lots of different sodas, which ultimately are fruit flavored, you know, Sprite is lemon lime. Mix that with some other things is you're just gonna end up getting like, oh, this is tastes like fruit punch.
No, it's not. Because if you're doing at one of those Coke freestyle machines, like that's 8 variations of Coke, 8 variations of Dr. Pepper, 8 variations of Fanta,
Yeah,
8
yeah.
variations.
Okay. Oh
And
no,
but it
I mixed Dr. Pepper cherry with Coke cherry. What's it gonna taste like? It's gonna taste like cherry. Those equal each other out.
yes, but you're doing it with cherry original vanilla, cherry vanilla original spiced. Like it your cherry Coke and your cherry Dr. Pepper, maybe they'll taste pretty similar and you could get the notes from that. But if you do that with every single drink, like if you also throw in grape Fanta and orange Fanta, like you're just not going to taste anything. Like it's just going to be it's too many flavors.
I
They're
don't
all
think
just going to
mixing
cancel each
grape and
other
orange
out.
Fanta would just taste good. Like these are all just good flavors. There's only one soda.
But you have
First
no,
of
but
all,
you have to
first of all,
imagine it on the scale. It's 8 to the power of
of orange.
8. No.
There's one soda that I despise, and if you add a single drop of it into, you know, this amalgamation of all sodas, it's going to ruin it, and that is root beer. So as long as you don't
What a
mix in root beer, as long as there's no root beer, as long as it's only fruit flavors and maybe like vanilla, it's going to be good.
But no, okay. You just said as long as it's only fruit flavors and vanilla.
Yeah.
But that's not what he does. He
What's
does all of it.
including root beer?
All of it. Yeah, I mean, yes, but
That's
also
disgusting.
more than just
What sodas can you think of that aren't fruit flavored?
what?
What sodas can you think of that aren't fruit flavored?
Are you Coke? Pepsi? Dr. Pepper? What do you
Well,
mean?
Dr. Pepper's cherry. Hold on.
No. What?
You're gonna really make me
What do you,
Google what
what?
flavor is Coke?
I don't. Dr. Pepper isn't cherry. There is an original Dr. Pepper. That's
Cola
not.
is the flavor of cola is a mix of vanilla, cinnamon, and citruses. So yeah, it's literally just fruit and vanilla. And I guess cinnamon, which is a similar spice to, like, I put that in the same category as like root beer and vanilla, but root beer's flavor is just so gross. But no, Dr. Pepper is like more cherry than like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Are you in stunned silence or did your mic break?
No, I'm in stunned silence.
Because you didn't know that most
No,
flavors are citrus.
Yeah, sure, but when I drink a Dr. Pepper, I'm not like, wow, I can really taste the cherry. I'm like, no, wow, I can really taste the soda destroying me from the inside out. I love it. Like I've never been, unless I get a designated, Dr. Pepper cherry or whatever. I don't taste cherry in Dr. Pepper. It's different from Coke, and just as it's different from Pepsi, and they're all different from each other and whatever. But I've never been able to be like, yes, obviously here's the cherry note and here's the cinnamon kicking in. Like, no, it's just soda.
Okay, well, if you don't taste the cherry kicking in, then you're doing it wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, way to throw our friend under the bus for mixing his soda together. Like, that's even remotely the same thing as your disgusting milkshake nuggets.
It's so much better. It's so much better. It is. You also are a vegetarian. You don't know what a chicken nugget dipped in a milkshake
I
is.
have eaten chicken nuggets before,
But
and I can imagine them dipped in a milkshake.
But you're imagining it. You haven't done it.
Okay.
We can get you some plant vegetable nuggets. And then
I'm
get
not
you a milkshake.
like, that sounds slightly better, Because, like, ultimately, I guess you're dipping breaded cauliflower into milkshake, which is, like, slightly better. But still, just, like, no, dude. Absolutely no way.
What do you mean? Also, when I say chicken nuggets, this also includes, like, chicken tenders and, any variation on the nugget
I,
tender family.
as someone who sells all of those things, I have no idea what the difference between a nugget and a tender and a wing and a finger. Like, I don't know what any of those are.
They're just different parts of the animal.
Of the buffalo.
No, we've killed the buffalo.
But we sell buffalo wings.
No,
Okay,
that's
you
the
said you
sauce.
you said you had more things to talk about dating apps about.
I did, but now I'm like, oh, do we even need to go back at this point?
Do you have do you,
Let's just ride this train.
this train ended when we killed all the buffaloes.
Oh no. I could still go on the dating world. I just, there's so much simply. You know what I would uh almost recommend more in its own terrifying way.
What?
Trying to meet people in the world,
Like
which
meeting
I haven't
people
really
in real
done.
life instead of dating apps?
Yeah. Dating apps are only going to take your money, and trying to meet people in the real world will just get you, worst case scenario, knock the fuck out. I'm so sorry, expletive gods of YouTube. Yeah, 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 yeah. The amount of middle-aged women that have hit on me, sometimes I think maybe I should, what, in a maybe I could meet someone who is not middle-aged. They approach me and it works out fine for them. What's the worst case scenario?
People who are middle aged
Also,
approach you?
yeah.
When does that happen? I told my story about the hag who came into the tavern that one time. Do you have any stories about
Oh yeah,
cougars?
down in Savannah that I told you. I mean, it kind of hit on me, kind of not. But that's who I was mostly thinking of.
That's so funny.
Um, there was another one. I also just am. It turns out I really hit it off when there's a clear line. Like, I went to a tea shop and I was like, I have a tea party I need to prepare for. Help me buy teas. And my gosh, the amount of banter that we had, incredible. I just,
Go
uh,
over the banter. You can't just say, "Hey, I had this cool conversation one time. It was great," and then leave it there. Tell me about your banter,
um,
Eric.
no. So it wasn't like anything super crazy, but it was just like she was pointing out different teas and I was smelling them, and the black tea versus green tea, white tea and yellow tea, which I did not know exist. You want to use a teaspoon and a half and boil them at 220 degrees and 190 and 180 for certain teas, and you want to steep them anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes depending on the tea. You can see how this was such a hot conversation.
Oh lordy, you guys are really spilling the tea. Haha.
uh, yeah. She told me about her trip to Egypt, stuff like that,
Where was this? When did this conversation take place?
in the mall this past week.
Oh, I didn't know that. Was our friend who mixes soda together there?
No,
Oh, you went to the mall
no.
alone?
Yeah. He was stuck in traffic. So, you know. And then she gave me free tea because I
Really?
bought so much of her stuff.
Wait, how much of her stuff did you buy?
Um, an amount,
How
maybe
how
or may
how
not, $100 worth of tea.
all she had to do was have you like just treat you nice, butter you up a little bit, and then you bought $100 worth of her tea?
Okay, in my defense, I thought there was going to be 16 people at the party. There was like 10. So,
Oh, you bought the tea for a party.
yeah. Yeah.
Was it a
I
tea
am,
party?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I said that in the beginning of the setup to this story.
I just kind of thought that you meant more like in general, not that like you were throwing some sort of
No.
fancy tea party.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, she's cool. And then I bought some of her Egyptian tea as a way to like be like, see, it worked. You should go back to Egypt and bring more.
Was she Egyptian?
No idea.
Okay.
Anyway, dating apps are kind of garbage, and they're a time sink, uh, comparable to like TikTok and YouTube brain rot, I would say. And then instead of like videos, you're doing that with like actual human beings, and you're like, whoa.
Which is not
Maybe
good.
coffee meets bagel. Maybe that's a good one.
That's a dating app?
Yeah.
Explain how it
Originally, it
works.
was kind of like Christian Mingle.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then they were like, there's not a ton of religious people. So it's still like, I think it's like a blend of like people's perception of it is like old OK Cupid, but then there's the religious connotation. So like religious single people still use it, but then it's also like, well, if you're also just want a long term esque thing, you have a better chance downloading that than Tinder or whatever. The gimmick to Coffee Meets Bagel at the time was it was vaguely religious, and now I think that's died off more or less, except for what I have already said. But then its other thing is like you can only swipe through, I don't know, 10 people in one day. So you have to like actually think about the person because you can't just endlessly brain rot yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, this person is really cool, and they do XYZ, so maybe I should reach out to them because I'm on my ninth person, and after I swipe on them, there's no one else for the day. And I think they also have a thing. I forget what it was. I remember you would collect coffee beans.
This
Was
is
there
so
like instead of a rose?
gamifying this sort of dating app is so weird to me. I feel like as an outsider who's never seriously used any of these, it's so weird to me that they're gamified in that way because like it's supposed to be about finding a relationship. Like you're just
No, it's
like
about money.
online dating is dating but online. I don't understand why they turned it into a video game where you have to carry beans.
The beans are just a metaphor. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
The beans are a metaphor for what? Being ground up like coffee?
lols. Yeah, that's not what it was for, but now it is. We just have to, make money somehow, and well, if there's a thing you need to collect and you can pay more to collect more, well, sounds
Well,
like money.
I hope our audience has enjoyed listening to dating advice from two single men. Um, I do want to move. That was a joke, obviously, because you have so much experience with that particular thing. I think that your insights are probably very valuable to people out there. I do want to segue slightly into another story of serendipity I have that involved what me and you did last Monday after recording the last episode.
Watching The Fall Guy?
We went to watch The Fall Guy, only in theaters, whatever date it currently is when you listen to this. What did you think of Fall Guy, Eric?
It was a good movie. It was made by the guy that made Bullet Train.
It was made by
So,
David Leitch, who I believe worked on John Wick 1 and Deadpool 2 and Bullet Train.
good movies.
It was by far my favorite movie of this year. I see one movie a week, and at least one movie a week, and by far Fall Guy is like it's my number one movie of the year. Like it's not even close. It beats Doom
Well, yeah.
2. Like it's so good, guys. It's so good.
Oh, God, because you've told me that, right? You were afterwards, we watched it, and you were like, "Yeah, easily my best movie of the year." And I was like, "Yeah, nothing else has come out. I haven't seen anything else anyway, so obviously that's the best."
Yeah, I've
Completely forgot I
seen.
saw
Let me
Dune
let
too.
me let me read off all the movies I've seen this year. Eric, you tell me if you think any of these are like just by the title, it's like something that
Close.
you think that you would enjoy watching.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, oh my god, have you seen? Then give me a moment. It's only letting me scroll back a month. Please be patient. All right, Argyle. Do you remember the commercials for Argyle?
I remember the name of it.
One of
I
the
remember
worst
nothing
movies
else.
I've ever had the displeasure of watching. Absolutely terrible.
Negative 10 out of 10. Got it.
Yeah, Lisa Frankenstein.
Isn't that like an old movie?
So
Of like
that's from a couple months ago. It has one of the Zack and Cody kids, I forget which one, plays this
probably
like
Cole.
probably Cole Sprouse plays an undead corpse, and then the girl who's in literally everything nowadays, who was Ant-Man's daughter in Ant-Man 3, she plays this weird quirky girl and accidentally brings like this Victorian peasant back to life, and then they start dating. Amazing movie. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think it very much surprised me and impressed me. I think you would very much like it, Eric, since you like Tim Burton style stuff.
Quite the age gap.
Yeah, Madam Web.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, wait, did you watch it?
No.
Okay, don't. It's not even fun the way that Morbius is. It's actually just abysmal to sit through.
I know they tricked the actors to work on it, and when you have to trick actors to work on your movie, that
Yeah,
says all I need to hear.
yeah, like the script that they had in the beginning was just not the script that they ended up going with, and so the actors were all really angry about it.
Well, they
Dune
also
Part
thought they
2.
were going to get into the MCU.
Yeah, there was maybe some trickery that they thought it was an MCU movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Dune Part 2.
Dune Part 2, good. We talked about it at length. Imaginary,
Yep.
I thought it was pretty good, very good for a PG-13 horror movie, very goofy. I like how seriously it took itself. Snack Shack, rated R, kind of like slice of life comedy, takes place in the mid 90s about these two teenagers who run a snack shack to try to make some money. Very uneven.
Never heard of it.
I figure 99% of people haven't heard of it. Pretty uneven as a movie. I think it was produced by Yardley Smith, which is totally random. She's the lady who voices Lisa Simpson. So I don't know like what
Wild.
she had to do with it. Immaculate, horror movie starring Sydney Sweeney, who is quickly becoming one of my least favorite actresses on the planet.
Sounds like a
Seeing
negative
her
hit.
in Anyone But You, Madam Web, and Immaculate that close together, I'm like, wow, this person's terrible. Yeah, no, garbage movie. Love Lies Bleeding, The First Omen, Monkey Man. Monkey Man was good. The other two
Monkey
were not.
Man. Okay, Monkey
I
Man.
did like Monkey Man. Civil War, Abigail, Challengers, which is also garbage. Tarot, which is more
Civil War
garbage. Tarot
was
is one of the
good.
most garbagey garbages I've ever garbaged. And then
Okay,
Fall Guy, number one movie of the year.
here's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
The Fall Guy, Monkey Man, Civil War, Dune 2.
That's fair.
Other.
I may put Dune 2 above Civil War, but yeah, those are also my top four.
When I think back on Dune 2, I'm just kind of like, yeah, it was a movie.
I did
I
like.
it mm,
Continue.
no, well, I still liked it. It was good. Of like, hey, you know what I enjoyed? A tight film with colors and some good action or some good storytelling, and it just came in and went out, you know? Monkey Man was that, Civil War was that, The Fall Guy was that. Dune 2 was just kind of like, I don't know.
You think it was too grand in scope? Gray.
It was not grand in scope. And I don't I don't think you could have made all of that one movie if you include part 1 and 2. But like I just had so much more fun with all the other movies. And Civil War was very sad. Yeah. Shrug.
Do you have any interest in seeing Planet of the Apes 4?
No.
Okay, but me and you watched Planet of the Apes 3 together.
Okay.
So what if we watched Planet of the Apes 4 together?
Looks dumb. No. Oh my gosh, monkeys are the apex. They're what humans are, and humans are what monkeys are. But there's one human who's relearning how to be a human. Oh my gosh.
Have you seen
also,
the original
Caesar
Apes
is
movies?
dead?
Have you seen the first 6 8 movies?
No.
What?
No.
They're like so good, my guy. Although, to be fair, I watched them when I was a kid. But like, no, the original 8 movies, like starting in the 60s, those are all, if you watch them together back to back to back, like actually so good. Like as a movie marathon, because it goes through, like, so much time passes and there's so many characters and developments, but they all also bleed into one another. Where like you get to the end of one of the movies and you're like, what could possibly happen next? And then you start the next one and you're like, oh my god, that's what happened next. Genuinely masterpieces.
Fair enough.
And then the new 3 are fine.
Well, okay. So why am I going to watch 4 fine movies when I could watch 6 masterpieces, according to you?
I think you should watch all of them.
None.
Okay.
Wait, next you're going to be like, what? Aren't you going to watch Godzilla versus Kong?
No, because
I don't need eyes to tell you that's going to be bad.
I have no interest in watching Godzilla vs. Kong. I watched Godzilla -1 last year. That was a good movie.
Sure. It slipped by me.
You should have seen it in theaters. The sound design was incredible.
I believe it. Teehee. I missed it.
Do you have any... Oh my god, wait, we weren't done talking. I was about to wrap us up. We didn't even finish our story. We went to the movie theater to watch Fall Guy. And then what did we do?
Go to the gym?
We went to the gym!
Yeah.
And it was terrible. I want to die.
Well, you're not still sore, are you?
No, yesterday I think was my last day of soreness. But, like, we get to the end of the exercises, and you said something to the effect of, like, normally I would only have done, like, half of the exercises that we ended up doing.
Kind of.
And that made me want to, like, strangle you.
Well, you know. You go, hey, what are the exercises you do? So I go, I will show you all of the exercises I do.
Yep. I was like lifting or whatever, and I'm like, Eric, I can't do it. And you're like, you only got 3 more. And I said, okay. And then I did 3 more. And then you did your set. And you're like, okay, Devin, now you have to do your 3rd set. I'm like, I can't do it. And then I do it, and I do like 5. And you're like, Devin, it's only 5 more. And I do 5 more. And you coached me through all of them. And the whole time I was crying. And then it was over. And then you're like, oh, by the way, you know, this thing that we just did, that's like twice the amount that, like, reasonably you should do in one sitting.
You know. You know, I never claimed to be a professional. And you wanted to see all the exercises.
Yes, I was just so sore for like I couldn't go downstairs for like 3 days.
That's what you said last time too.
Yeah, but this time I'm like, I don't know, I guess I'm still out of practice and I'm like not fit. But no, it was rough. And then we did this massage thing that was not as enjoyable as I imagined.
Yeah, it never is.
They're like, oh my god, it's like a water hydration shooting chair where they massage you with the water. I'm like, okay. And then it just felt like I was being punched. It wasn't even...
Could have tried the normal massage chairs.
Could have done the normal massage chairs. And then we were like, okay, and we go back to the movie theater to get some, like, water and to just chill for a few minutes. And we're sitting there, and one of my friends texts me. She's like back in town because she goes to school in a different state. And she's like, "Hey, do you happen to be at work right now? Because like I need to stop by and do something." And I'm like, "Well, no, I'm not at work. But you see, me and Eric went to work, went to watch Fall Guy, and then we went to the gym, and now we're back at work to get free water and to use the bathroom. So like I am at work, but I'm not at work. Do you feel me?" And then she was able to come in, and we were able to give her a paycheck, like a paycheck from the last time that she worked before she left for the season. So that was just
Incredible.
very, very. What is it, Eric? What's the word? What's the word of the week?
Slapendipity.
Slapendipitous.
Serendipitous.
Serendipitous. Very cool.
Serentrinity.
Is that when there's 3 slaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and that was all just Monday.
Yeah, all of that was on Monday. Do you want to talk about what you did on Thursday?
No, I don't. I guess you can leave a comment below if you want to. I went to a Lorcana tournament again. I don't want to keep bringing it up if people aren't enjoying it. If people do enjoy it, I guess I'll keep bringing it up. I came in last.
No.
Rip.
Out of how many people?
4. Which,
Last out of 4. How many rounds do you play if
Yeah.
there's only 4 people?
Same amount of rounds.
Well,
and then we
I've
played
never
against
been.
everyone. Well, so if it's you and 3 other people, everyone plays everyone.
Okay,
because
so
there's 3 rounds.
Okay, so 3 rounds.
Tournament.
Okay, interesting. Did you win any of your matchups?
No, they were just better. Except there was one opponent who I just kind of misplayed against. But I would have, like, it. I still don't know if I would have won. But, like, I don't know. I think about it, and maybe I could have.
You went with our soda mixer friend, right?
No, he didn't go.
Oh, I thought he did go. This
He
whole
was
time I
stuck in
thought he was
traffic.
there. Oh, I didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. He was probably sitting there listening to his video game music, occasionally interrupted by novelty songs.
Probably. Yeah, no, I was alone. And except for the people at the store. And then I also bought one of their play mats that the store made themselves, and it was the literal one and only.
They only made one of these?
Hopefully they could. No, I think something must have goofed with like shipment or how much they. I don't know. They were very surprised. It seemed that they only had one. So I don't know what happened exactly, but I have it until they get more in.
And one day it'll be in some sort of shadow box along with your Mickey Mouse pin.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that shadow box.
And I'm still waiting on the end of this episode. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to leave a comment, you can do that on YouTube, or you can send an email to slapendipity@gmail.com. Thank you all for watching. We will be back next week.
Bye, everybody. Dating apps, more like fading apps.
The best I
Because I'm
could come
fading
up.
away.
The best I could come up with was like Ginge, like Hinge plus Gibby. Gibbinge.
Ew.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound right. Goodbye, everyone.